Okay!
This weekend I played a lot of the pre-order beta for Marvel's Avengers, a game that I wasn't really looking forward to that much, despite being a huge Marvel fan. And I got some thoughts. Hello everyone, welcome to the show. My name's Christian Buckley. Like I said at the top, I am a big Marvel fan, okay? Obviously, like everybody else in the world, that's not a unique thing to say, you know? Saying you like Marvel is like saying that you enjoy staying hydrated. Like, we reached a point, you know? Complete global saturation. Marvel's Avengers is a project that, when it was initially announced, I was over the moon for. January of 2017, we got that CG trailer with the hashtag reassemble at the end. And ever since then, I was optimistic we were going to get a great game. Even last year at E3, right? Last year at E3, they showcased the game for the first time, and internet was split on it. You were seeing a ton of criticism lauded against the designs of these characters, what the game is going to be. The more that came out about this game, the more they showcased it, which was very rare. I kind of lost the faith. I think that first war table, there was a lot of things wrong with that presentation. The scene in Deadpool where he does the superhero landing and like blows out his knee, that's kind of what happened to me after that first war table. The second war table came around that was highlighting this beta, and I got excited again. You know, like I thought that was the best showing of the game so far. I got genuinely excited. So let's get into a little bit about the beta itself. I played all 3 days, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I probably did about 5 hours each day. So I have a few highlights and a couple lowlights taking away from my weekend with the beta, and we're gonna get through those real quick. The first highlight is it genuinely feels good to play. It is satisfying. It's something I was worried about, but they did it, you know? Everyone feels good to play. There were some characters I was more worried about. I was expecting to main Hulk in the beta, and based on his initial segment and the follow-up story mission with Hulk and Kamala, I wasn't feeling Hulk. But then I leveled him and I was like, okay, you're more fun now. But I found myself really loving Black Widow, and I mained her most of the weekend when I was playing with friends. I was Widow, and I had a great time doing it. That being said, I get the worry going in, because I was worried, and let me tell you, from the first second I got control of the sticks, we kicked things off with Thor. Thor is my favorite Avenger. I was so worried that it was gonna feel just off. I was expecting Mjolnir to just not feel quite right. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. I paused the game. The second I got 2 hits in with Mjolnir, I had to pause the game because I was so happy. The Leviathan Axe from God of War 2018 is top tier. That thing's incredible. You know, they did Mjolnir first in that game. And I think from the very little time I spent as Thor, who will most likely be my main at launch, Mjolnir's like right beneath it. You know, there's something off. Maybe I have to upgrade it a little bit, but it's so close to being as good as the axe to me. One thing this game desperately needs so far is drop in, drop out co-op. I think if you're in a mission, especially if the game is gonna maybe have server issues like it did have during this beta weekend, where the game would crash and my friend would be lost, and we have to reset the game, back out to the Quinjet, re-invite him, re-queue up. I think a game like this needs in-mission invites. That is vital. If you're doing a strike in Destiny, for instance, and somebody drops out, they'll matchmake and fill somebody in, you should be able to invite that person back, or a new person, you know? I think mid-mission you should be able to invite your friends if this game is truly about having a fleshed out Avengers experience, because that is an easy way for you to get pulled out, and I really don't see a disadvantage. It feels very good to transition between characters. I was very impressed by this. Some of the early press beta impressions, I was very worried actually, because some of them were saying that everything felt samey. Everyone has an L2 ability to aim something, and R2 ability to throw a projectile. For Hulk, he rips up boulders. For Kamala, she aims her hand and just stretchy hands it. Each thing still feels unique though. Like, throwing a boulder as the Hulk feels different and satisfying in other ways than Kamala doing the stretchy hand. Charging up the repulsors as Tony is very fun. Feels different than shooting with Widow's pistols. So I don't know if it's samey to me as much as it is just like intuitive to make things smooth, because there's an off chance that you may be matchmaking with someone and they're playing your main and your backup. I think the game is balanced well enough that you can just transition to another character and still get the gist of it, really wrap your head around it, and be useful in your mission. Listen, I know the game's pretty, okay? I'm gonna play it on PS5. I'm sure this will be ironed out, but I'm playing on a PS4 Pro, and when I'm near the Hulk sometimes, it dips a bit, and as much as it looks good, I really don't think we need this many particles, so if you just give me a slider, you know, let me like turn down the particle effects so I can just smooth things out, that'd be swell. Maybe a saturation slider too, just to get a little more vibrant stuff in there, maybe some shaders. But if it's just truly one slider, then particle effects please, because so far the highlight for me, absolutely, was the secret unlockable level, which might be just a beta thing, would be over the moon if stuff like that was in the game, you know, work with the community to find hidden shield bunkers that give you really cool missions. Maybe there's one in Tokyo, maybe there's one in Brazil, like, that would be dope. I don't know if that was just a beta thing or if that's a full game thing, but if that is a full game thing, yes, excellent. But in terms of the other missions, the layer I think is the most engaging content in terms of multiplayer stuff so far. I'm kind of confused when it comes to the way they've been selling multiplayer stuff, like war zones, drop zones, what missions are going to take me 3 minutes to complete with a friend, what missions are going to be 20 minutes. It's a little messy. I still don't really get it. Like, are war zones in this game beta right now? I kind of thought from the way they were pitching it that war zones were walk around and patrol, pick up some random quests on the side. And that's very much not what is present in the game. There are wider areas where you can find treasure chests being guarded by groups of enemies, but I don't think that is something that's equivalent. And yeah, I guess that's leading in naturally to the other lowlight of it is a bummer that that's not in here, you know? And again, I just could be confused with the way they've been selling the full game, and this could be in the full game, and that would be great. But playing as Iron Man in a city block and just shooting straight up in the air and then being capped off by an invisible wall, that sucks. Like, that's such a bad feeling. Like, I get it. Like, if that's the game you're making, I get it. But man, it's disappointing. Oh, these characters feel very fun to play as, and restricting that is really upsetting. Do I think about that when I'm not playing the game? Yes. When I'm playing the game, when I'm talking to my buddies about Hobbs and Shaw and just destroying robots, I'm not thinking about that, you know? And I think that's what my biggest takeaway was at the end of this entire beta weekend. It's just fun. It's a very fun game. And I feel like a lot of people aren't giving it a chance. I can get certain aspects of it not being the game that you want from an Avengers story, but man, it's satisfying to play, even on your own. Like, I played a lot of this game by myself, on and off stream. The story missions so far were very intriguing. I think Kamala is a great character to lead this with. Her story is very fresh. It breathes new life into this take on the Avengers, which were, again, criticized at their reveal. We don't know these takes on the characters, but we're all going in a post-MCU universe where we have our own attachments to these characters, and I think that is, like, the writers and developers are aware. Like, they know we know that. They know we're comparing this to the MCU. And I think the choice to establish them as being celebrated at the beginning, to immediately flip that switch and be like, hey, they're actually a menace to society, is interesting. Because that's not a unique or new story to tell with superheroes, but because we know the Avengers so well, going into an Avengers game where they're not the hotness, I think gives us a good foundation. And again, that's where Kamala comes in, and I think we're off for a fine story time. And if you want to play this game solo, I think you're going to have a fine time doing that. For the hardcore, okay, for the hardcore that love great games, they only play 9s and 10s, and if you really like Marvel and you're a little tepid, I think it's worth a shot. Definitely for the beta weekends. If it's not your thing, maybe wait for a sale eventually. But I'm in. I'm locked in. Now I'm considering getting the $70 version so I can play the game a few days early, because one, I'd love to stream it, continue that ball rolling on the very fun time I had streaming it this past weekend, and all the people who supported that, which again, thank you very much. Having a game like this I can play with friends or by myself is already something that I like in my wheelhouse for games, but having it focused on Marvel, a world I already care so deeply about, it just feels great. If you haven't played it yet and you're looking forward to it this weekend, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this video changed your opinion on it at all. Now I just have to weigh the quarantine funds and make sure I feel okay dropping $70 on this game. That is going to do it. Speaking of funds, we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/joyclicks is where you can go if you want to contribute to the channel, have influence over our shows or streams and all that stuff. $1, $2 gets you a ton of stuff. That's all you need to know on the website. But if you enjoyed the video, if you're new to JoyClicks, if you hung around for the beta and are back for this impressions video, again, thank you very much for sticking around, continuing to support. It means a lot to me. And I'm really excited to be excited about a Marvel thing that's coming soon. I will probably be streaming it more this weekend, so if you want to do that, schedule is listed on the channel and on Twitter @JoyClicks. But that's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed, and it's time to assemble, because it's pizza time. All right, see ya.
Okay.